Go ahead and get started. Thanks everybody for joining us today. Butch Lieber, if I'm pronouncing your last name correctly, yes?
Yep. Yes.
As y'all are aware, we sent out a survey for personal wellness to our members, and a lot of y'all responded back, over 10% actually of our primary members, which is huge. And it is obvious that we need some type of a way to motivate us, encourage us, maybe some structure and some system in place so that we can kind of feel better grasp and have some control over our lives and what's going on. These last couple of years have been challenging in a lot of ways. And so your professional development committee is working hard to bring you subject matter and wonderful speakers that not only focus on motivation and encouragement today, thinking about mindset over matter, which is huge, but also education and continuing to better our business in all aspects that affect our lives, emotional, physical, and mental as well. So Butch, from there, I'm going to go ahead and let you introduce yourself and take it away.
Thank you. I just want to turn off that beep when somebody enters the room because I forgot to do that earlier. So thank you. My name is Butch Lieber. I am a realtor and a business coach. I have been, actually this is this week is 20 years since I got my real estate license in February 10th, 2002. So actually today is the 10th, right? Today's exactly 20 years since I got my real estate license. I also am a business coach, and I work with realtors and mostly about mindset and being in action. So I'm excited to be here today to talk about some of that mindset issues that Melinda was talking about. This is designed to be interactive. So a lot of you are off camera, which is fine. It's not a CE class. You don't have to be on camera, but it's going to be really boring if you don't participate with me. So please jump in and share your experiences and as we do things today. Just so you know who I am too is I have my broker's license. I've been a broker for better part of the last 10 years. And I'm involved with the associations. I'm president-elect of Phoenix Realtors Association. I'm on the board of AAR and NAR and the Arizona Regional Multiple Listing Service. I'm on our Professional Standards Committee and on our Legislative Affairs and RAPAC. I'm a RAPAC trustee. So I'm engaged in the industry. I'm really committed to shifting the conversation of what it means to be a realtor, particularly in Arizona, but over the country. I'm on a task force, a professionalism task force with Arizona Association of Realtors, and we're looking at how do we raise the level of professionalism. It's a conversation that never goes away, and I keep saying until we have professionalism count more than money, we will never change that conversation. So you'll get some of my perspective on that today. So today's talk is called Mindset Over Matters. So what that really means is how do we manage our mindset, our well-being, our perspective on life and business when circumstances don't go the way we want them to go necessarily. And I say a lot of that has to do with perspective. And I'm sure you've seen this all before. This is a little optical illusion. You guys can see my screen. Those of you at a computer and not driving, don't look at your screen, Nikki, while you're driving. Have you seen this before? What do you see when you see this picture? When you look at this, what do you see immediately?
A lady looking away.
A lady looking away, young lady looking away, right? Here's her eyelashes, here's her nose, here's her ear. But is there another way you could see this? Anybody see anything else? Paula, what do you see? Nodding your head. Thank you for being on camera.
I see a person, a woman with a scarf on, and she's looking kind of to the side.
Okay, good. So an older woman, here's the nose, here's her nose here, the chin of the young lady, but this is the nose, this is her mouth and chin here. She's wearing a scarf. Do you see that? So you can either look at this and see an old woman looking kind of sad and morose, or a pretty young woman looking away. Depending on how you view the picture, you see two different things. So how we see something is really vital to how we interact with it. So how do you see real estate? What's real estate like for you? How's business been? How's the industry? What's your experience of real estate, how you look at it? Again, this is
You
that
know,
interactive part.
Sure. I'll jump in. Statistically, we're down inventory. It's the same story everywhere else. For those of us, I think, that are just getting into the industry or having a hard time establishing some business, just looking for things to sell. There's buyers out there, but as you know, buyers are kind of, some of them are hanging on the fence right now. So that limits a lot of growth that people can have professionally in their business. For those of us that have been doing this for almost 20 years, such as myself, we have repeat business, we have repeat clients, we've got somewhat of a platform to continue working with. Not to say that we're not always for growth, but it depends on, I think, where you're at in your industry and what else you have going on right now. It's a very different story for everybody.
Okay. Thank you. Yeah, Paula?
I was going to say that this has been, I love to help people, and I love being successful and making people happy, both buyers and sellers. But this has been really frustrating. I've been able to make sellers outrageously happy. But on the other hand, I've been experiencing what I just don't do very well with in life, and that's with rejection. And it's rejection from writing offers and feeling frustrated. And I try not to be negative with my buyers, but I feel like I have to tell them the truth and say, no, you can't offer less than list price on this. In fact, you'll have to offer. And then I give them a range and try to ask the list agent what that price point is, if they're able to tell us what we have to meet or beat. But it's ultimately extremely frustrating because a lot of people can't do the tools that we have to use now, like waiving the appraisal or accepting in the current condition, and basically throwing baby out with every right that I thought that they had in the past, and I felt comfortable with keeping them safe. So it's been really frustrating for me, but it's not that I don't love the profession. It's just that it's been just really frustrating, and I've experienced a lot of rejection, not only with contracts, but also feelings of disappointments with my buyers in particular.
I got it. So frustration, disappointment, rejection. You said you have to tell buyers the truth of what's the reality of the market today. You say it like the truth is a bad thing, right? It's a bad.
Well,
it's a bad market.
Well, some people, for example, some buyers, and I'm working with some VA buyers, which is, you all know, is sometimes, sellers look at that and say, oh no, if we see a VA, we know that it's got perhaps has a little bit more stringent requirements, but still it's or FHA or buyers that simply don't have those deep pockets to totally waive the appraisal. Maybe they've got a shortfall, or maybe they can't waive it at all. And we feel like we're kind of always at the bottom of the pile and have to go lower and lower for the price point of properties, rather than saying, okay, I'm pre-qualified up to 600, instead of looking at those homes for 590, 599 or 600. We have to look for those homes that are 495,
Right.
and hope that we can get in there and find something that's maybe not in the perfect area that they wanted, or maybe not the house that they wanted, maybe having to accept it in its current condition without asking for any remediations or repairs. So it's been really frustrating for buyers. And then afterwards, I do continue to follow up with them, and they say, it's not the perfect house, and we wish we would have whatever. There's just a lot of regret because market's so crazy. But most of them are happy that they bought when they did, if they bought like even a couple of months ago, because they realize it's just been kind of an insane frenzy of sales increases at this point in time.
Yeah,
They're super frustrating especially for new buyers.
Yeah, I get it. And what you're saying is not an uncommon feeling, and not an uncommon frustration. That, and I work with buyers and sellers, and I don't work with buyers anymore that are more than 20 minutes from my house, because I can't serve them if I have to get in the car and drive 30, 40 minutes to go show one property as soon as it comes on the market. I can't manage my business that way. So we have to make adjustments based on the circumstances. Thank you for sharing all that. We're going to come back and talk about that in a little bit. And how do we shift we're going to talk at the end of this call today about how do we shift the mood from one of frustration and disappointment to something else that's more empowering. See, I've been doing transformational thinking work for the last 21 years and have my coach. And about, I don't know, 5, 6 years ago, I learned something that I'm going to share with you today about how do we actually shift the perspective. And let me show you again a little bit more about what I say about what I mean about perspective. Let's see, where's my share screen again? Oh, I'm still sharing my screen. Okay, you guys see the triangle on the screen? Great. So this is called the Penrose Triangle. So the Penrose Triangle is actually, they call it an impossible object. It can only exist in 2 dimensions. It's an optical illusion. It is not it cannot exist as a solid object. Can you see that? It's a if you've ever seen the work of MC Escher, the ever stairs and the geese and everything, right? This is an optical illusion, except that a sculptor in Australia, in Perth, Australia, built the Penrose Triangle. He built the impossible triangle in 3 dimensions. How's that possible? Because I said it's an impossible object. It cannot exist in 3 dimensions. So just imagine you're standing in Perth, Australia at this one particular spot, looking at this triangle, and you go, wow, somebody built this impossible. Wouldn't that change your view of the world? Wow, the impossible became possible. If you take 2 steps to the left, this is what the triangle looks like. You notice the little opening at the top here? It doesn't actually connect. And actually, if we stood a little further to the left or went out to Google and looked at Google Maps, this is what it actually looks like from outer space. That's not a triangle at all. That's just 3 bars of steel. But depending on where you stand, you get a triangle, you get a football goalpost, you get, just random shapes because it's really just 3 bars. But if you're standing in one particular place, you see a triangle. So where in life, where in your business are you standing, looking at it like, oh, this is how it is? But if you shifted, because there are people out there that love the market that we're in today, love competitive market, love playing with like, okay, I got a challenge. How am I going to beat my challenge? So where you stand, where you look at your perspective makes a huge difference. So I say, as a business coach, that we all live by some set of rules that we didn't create, we did not agree to them, and we are blind to the impact it has on our life and our business. So Paul, you talk about you love to serve your clients. So I've been a realtor since 2002. I actually stepped away from real estate back in 2006 or 7 for a couple of years because I'm all about serving my clients. And I could not serve my clients in that year. Sellers were greedy, wanted more than anything. Buyers couldn't buy a house. You couldn't compete. You had to, I remember running with printed offers to listing agent's office to submit an offer. We weren't using e-signatures as much then, and everything was faxed, but I had to run the paper offer to the listing agent to hopefully get it in their hands before anybody else did. It was horrible. I could not serve my clients. And it got in the way because of a rule that I had that the only way to do business is take care of people. There are plenty of people. I have a friend who's a team leader of a team of 12 people. And I asked him, how do you build relationships with your clients if you're not working with them? He says, I don't care about relationships. I care about my bottom line. I need to sell so many houses. Like, oh, totally slapped me upside the face because my business is all about relationships. And I never could consider that you could have a real estate business, residential real estate business that wasn't about relationships. When I tried to buy a commercial building a couple of years ago, commercial realtors was totally different experience. They didn't care about helping me as a person. Like, what's the bottom line? How much am I going to make? What are we going to do? So different perspective. But we think there's a set of rules. And you can go online and look for, how can I be successful in real estate? I found this little image, 3 keys for success for a real estate agent: have an online presence, have an organized routine, and professionally grow yourself. If you do those 3 things, you're guaranteed success in real estate. All right, well, maybe not. Or then you can go look and you can download this podcast, Real Estate Success in 5 minutes a day. I need to go listen and see what they're teaching, because I want to know how to be successful in 5 minutes a day. So I spend a lot more time than 5 minutes a day on my business. Of course, you can always get this book from Joe Cesso, The Secrets of Top Selling Agents. And I love Lee Brown and Gary Keller and Tom Ferry, all great stuff, but I can't do what Tom Ferry tells you to do. I'm not somebody getting on the phone, smile and dial for dial. Gary Keller, the Keller Williams model, dial for dollars, get on the phone. I've been 20 years in the business, never made phone calls, and I've never had less than a 6-figure income in real estate. So their secrets might not work for me. Of course, you can get Marky Lemons, who I love, love, love. She's got her guide to success. She's got the system, go do these things. The Rules of Real Estate by Debbie DiMaggio. Okay, and then I miss my favorite, The Definitive Blueprint for Real Estate Success from Haas Pratt. The Definitive Blueprint. Read his book, and you're guaranteed to make him a millionaire. I mean, you're guaranteed to make yourself $1 million in real estate, right? Because it's the definitive blueprint, but it's not going to work for everybody. The reality is there are no rules. There is no one way to success, yet we are constantly trained by our brokers and by the people in power, however, those people, this is how you do it. You want to be successful in real estate, you got to door knock. You want to be successful in real estate, you got to do open houses. Of course, you talk to a different agent, he says, door knocking doesn't work. People don't answer their doors today. Everybody's afraid of everybody else. Don't bother, don't waste your time. Talk to somebody else, says, oh, open houses are a waste. I've done open houses, never got me a single deal. Waste of time in business. You can't do that. Nothing works and anything can work. There are no rules to real estate. So why do we keep hearing and seeing books and seminars about the secrets to success? I am not going to tell you how to be successful in real estate, but I am going to tell you your success is designed by your authenticity. You have to embrace your power, your personality, your style to be successful. Let me talk about what I mean. In the 1970s or 60s, there's a philosopher, Kenneth Burke, he's an American philosopher. He talks about something called a deterministic screen. A deterministic screen talks about, it's the way we perceive life comes through a certain set of rules. We all, like I said, we have a set of rules we can't see. As soon as you get your real estate license, you are sucked into a world of what it looks like in real estate, because the conversations are designed, been around forever, right? You got to do this, you got to do that, you got to be this, you got to be that. We're stuck inside a deterministic screen. How you see life impacts your point of view. You can't help your point of view because it's being fed to you over and over and over. Every time you hang out with realtors, every time you talk to a broker, every time you take a CE class. And I love this cartoon, kind of illustrates your perspective on life generates your perspective on life, right? How you're raised, how you're seen. So these two women have the very same point of view from a very different place, right? And I'm not going to talk about politics or anything, but if I said COVID, you're going to have a point of view about how the government handled it. And is it a good disease or bad disease? Not even a disease, doesn't even exist. It's not, right? You're going to have a point of view based on your background. You've got your own deterministic screen. And the thing with real estate, anybody remember this ad from the 1970s? This was from Maxell Tapes. And the idea of it was this, their sound was so pure that if you listen to music on a Maxell tape, it would blow you away. But here's what's happening. The default conversation of real estate is causing your stress, your frustration, your negative mood, your upset. The default conversation of the world is blowing you away because you think all those rules are true. I have to do this, I have to do that. And then if you don't do that, right? My experience when I first got my license back in 2002, I was at Keller Williams and they have their model of this is how you build success in real estate. And I would go to the classes and I would not do the things they told me I had to do. And then I'd be mad at myself. I'm upset. What's wrong with me? I'm a bad person. Why can't I do that? Why isn't this working for me? Right? And then I'm upset. And then now I figured out for myself is I'm going to do it my way. I'm not going to do it their way. And I just sold 18 houses my first year in business. I was like, I'm not going to pay attention to those rules. I'm going to do it my way. And there are a lot of people that see, oh, yes, I can step outside the rules. But if you don't have access to that, the statistics say that 90% of realtors are out of business within 2 years. And I don't know if that's accurate or not, because I've never been able to find the source of that data, but that's a common conversation. But people struggle. And I think the struggle is they're given a list of rules, and then they don't want to follow the rules, and they don't have success, or the rules don't work for them. So I'm going to ask you to shift your perspective on the business, right? Whatever you're feeling today, the frustration, the stress, the people are this way, life is that way. Those were all just given by the screen, the rules that we live in. So how do we break through that? So I say that the only way to manage your mood and your existence and your level of satisfaction is to live true to who you are. To say these rules that I see, you have to identify them first. They don't apply to me. Now, that comes from being authentic. So what is authenticity? What does authenticity mean to you? How would you define authenticity?
Being genuine and unique.
Okay, being genuine and unique. Jill?
I'm just trying to think about that. Just, yeah, being real, like no veil, no, hey, how you doing today? You don't
Okay.
necessarily say great, right? Like, no, that's the deterministic screen is when someone asks you how you're doing and you always say good.
Great,
good,
I'm great.
whether you're good or
Fine.
not.
Yeah, I'm awesome. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. It's one thing to be authentic. I like to tell it how it is. I like to tell people how it is. But then you have a buyer or seller, you got to tell them bad news. And it's like, oh, okay, they're going to leave me. They're going to be upset with me. So how do I say this in a way? That's not authenticity, right? You're now changing yourself to fit the needs. So being real. Yeah. I say my definition of authenticity is living and being true to your spirit, your values, and your personality. Our industry is one where you probably, and I don't want to speak for everybody, but there's probably things you do in your business that hurt you to your core, that this goes against my values, because you're told that's how you have to do it in real estate. I had a former business partner years ago who refused to market to her sphere because when she was young, her mom said, don't sell your friends. Don't sell your friends anything. She was never allowed to participate in like the cookie sales you had or the candy bars you sold in elementary school. You can't bother people with that. So her whole thing was to pick up the phone and call somebody was bothering them. So it went against her value system to sell to her sphere. So she had to work really hard to generate business outside of her sphere because it didn't fit her stuff. And I never got it, but it fit her style and personality, and it worked for her. She still did very well in real estate. So authenticity is living and being true to your spirit, values, and personality. It's also honoring your beliefs and integrity, regardless of outside pressures and influences. I personally hate text message marketing. So why would I use it in my business? Well, it's the most effective marketing tool you can have today is text messages to your sphere. I'm not going to do it. It goes against my style. If I don't like it, why would I do it to somebody else? Right? Authenticity is honoring your beliefs. Well, it's the best way to do sales. Okay, for you. My best way may be something else. So authenticity is honoring your beliefs and integrity, regardless of what anybody else tells you. Because there are accepted practices in real estate that, not for me, doesn't go to my style, my personality. And lastly, it's being honest and being responsible that, for what there is, not being afraid to say something or telling somebody how it is, being responsible for it. There's going to be consequences. Okay, then we'll deal with the consequences. But let me tell you what, I have a client. We listed her house a few months ago. We got a full price offer, over a full price offer 3 days in. And then she's like, I don't want to take it. I'm like, why not? She's like, well, I've been looking at other properties and I can't buy anything at that price that's nearly as nice as my place. I'm afraid if I take this offer, I'm not going to be able to find something. So I'm not going to take the offer. Can we put the house off the market? I'm going to think about it. And she thought about it. She's like, I don't think I want to sell my house. It's like, okay, well, I've spent money to market your house. I'm happy to take your house off the market, but I'm going to send you a bill She says, well, why? I thought that was included in your services. Yeah, if I sold your house, but you're canceled. So here's what I've spent is actual out-of-pocket expenses. I won't charge you for my time, but she's like, oh, okay, fine. And when you want to sell it, she's, I still want to work with you. She's like, okay. But how many realtors would be afraid to say, oh, I spent all this money for pictures and marketing and right, and would never ask for that money. But it's like, look, I'm happy to work with you, but you changed your mind and I've done all this work. I want to get paid for what I did. And I'm not afraid of losing our friendship or our business relationship because of it, because this is what makes sense to me. And she said, okay, got it. Makes sense to me. I'll give you money and I'll let you know. She's give me a few months and we'll talk again because she wants to move, but she's right. Her place, she lives in a really beautiful place in a really bad neighborhood and she wants to move, but she can't get a really nice place like she has in a good neighborhood. It's going to cost her way more money and she doesn't have any income. So, you know, being straight with somebody, being honest, being responsible. And I knew she might get really upset and she might not pay me, but she did. She transferred money to my Venmo yesterday. So we're all good, right? So most of us operate thinking we're authentic, wanting to be authentic, but then let the force field. So getting back, letting the force field of business, letting the rules of the game get in the way of us actually being authentic. And then we get stuck and then we're following somebody else's rules. And then we're frustrated. So thoughts or comments so far? Anybody have any comments you want to add, or yeah, buts, or how abouts, or what ifs?
I just love that. I think, you know, we are pressured. You hit the nail on the head. So often we get into this business and think we have to do it a certain way and losing. I can remember certain pivotal moments in my life and my experience of real estate where it questioned my morality, questioned my ethics. And it put me in a very horrible feeling that I was having to make a decision with myself. And I finally learned, not that I did anything illegal or anything else, but just working with people that I didn't think, well, I'll skip that part, but it does. You have those moments because you're trying to make a sale, you're trying to feed your family, you're trying to increase your business. You want to be flexible to people and what those demands are, but when it does start questioning your own ethics and morality, it makes you take a step back. So it's such a great point to touch on, to be true to ourselves.
Yeah. You know, when you don't, you have to go home with yourself and look yourself in the mirror. You have to wake up with yourself in the morning. And if you do something that's outside of your integrity, because it's okay, it's an accepted practice in real estate. I'm having my house remodeled. And I had a talk with my contractor yesterday. And I'm like, look, you guys are great, except that your industry accepts lying is acceptable. I can tell you a week and mean 2. I can tell you, I'll call you tomorrow and mean Thursday or Friday. I said, it doesn't work for me. I need you to be in communication. I need to tell me what's going to, because I'm not home all the time. I can't be here to let you in. Today, so somebody's coming today between 10 and 12. I was like, I can't be there to let them in. I'm going to be on a call. I'm not going to be able to be disturbed. He's like, well, I'll be there before they get there so that I can let him in. And he's not here yet. So it's like, you know, it's acceptable practice in your industry, but doesn't that hurt you to always be lying to people? So you have to be able to look at yourself and say, what's more important? And again, be responsible for the consequences. Anybody else? Thought, comments? Yeah, buts, how abouts, what ifs? Paula?
Well, that happened to me recently, actually, and I had done expenses. They decided to not use me as a and they said, well, you know, we'd like to pay you for the whatever. And I my initial response was going to be, oh, no, that's okay. You know, it's the cost of doing business, you know, because I feel like that's the polite thing to do, or I don't know what that thought is, but still, you're right. I was out that money and I already prepaid the photographer. So, but he did pay me, which I thought was great. And it did teach me a lesson that I should just accept, you know, well, just being true to yourself and being your own advocate in business transactions, because that's what it is. And that's what I would expect to do for someone else in a business transaction. And so there's no reason why I should not accept that for myself.
Awesome.
So thank you for bringing that up.
Awesome. Yeah, good. So why does this matter? Why does this matter, right? So one of the things is having the strong foundation, being able to declare, this is the point of view I'm coming from. This is my expression of authenticity. If I asked each of you why you do real estate, I would assume, my guess would be that most of you would say, because I want to make a difference for people. Is there anybody on this call that doesn't doesn't do this to make a difference. They just want to make money. I just do this for the money. Anybody? There are some people that do operate from that perspective, but it's a small amount of people. I think most people really want to make a difference for people. And so I'm going to shift topics a little bit and come back to this in a second, because that making that difference is what matters. And you've got to be able to point to what that difference is. So ultimately in business, we all want to produce results. And I imagine some of you probably have vision boards at home with your results that you're out to produce, whether it's vacations or a bigger house or financial security for your family, right? There's some results you're out to produce. There is only one thing that produces results. What would go in that middle box that produces results? What produces results?
Consistency and hard work.
Consistency and hard work could produce results, right? I'm consistently sitting on my sofa and watching football and not making.
It's got to be some sort of action.
Action. The only thing that produces results is action. It really is the only thing that produces results. You've got to get up and take action. And whatever actions you take will always produce a result. It may or may not produce the result you want, but it always produces results. So what produces action? What gets you off the sofa into action?
A goal.
A goal. I have a goal to make $1 million, and yet I like to sleep in on the weekends, and I like to sit and watch football and go out to dinner, and I'll save money next week. The goal doesn't always produce action. It might. For some people, set a goal, puts you into action, but it doesn't always produce action.
A plan.
A plan. I have got plans for world domination in my drawer. And again, I'm not doing anything about it. Those books I have, you know how many of those books I have of the success to 7 stages to money maturity and, Think and Grow Rich. I have all books on my shelf with plans of how to be successful. And I'm not doing it. Huh?
Commitment?
Commitment. I am committed. How many people do you know that are committed to finding the love of their life and being in a relationship, but sit home and order pizza and hope the pizza guy is really cute, right? Commitment doesn't produce action.
Motivation.
Jake in the chat wrote, how about mindset? So you're really close with mindset. What causes action? The only thing that causes action
What
is
a need.
your point of view. A need. You could be, but how many times do you say, I really need to, I really need to, I really need to, and you never get around to it? A need might cause the action, but doesn't always cause the action. It's the point of view of life that you have. It's the point of view that the way you see things. It's not even motivation, because I know people that are over the last 12 months, I've lost about 100 pounds. And I've been motivated to lose weight for the last 30 years. And for the last 30 years, I've been 100 pounds overweight. And it wasn't motivation that got me into action. It was a shift in my point of view of life that got me into action. Motivation, need, a plan, consistency, all that stuff influences action and helps with action. But the only thing that causes action is your point of view. You see something and you say, oh, I've got to go do this. So where does your point of view come from? Where does your point of view come from? Most of us, it's just default. We don't even know it. It's that set of rules that we live by. It's a default experience, right? It's this gives us our point of view. I have to, I need to, I should. And our point of view is undefined. So I'm going to argue that when you can create a point of view to operate from, when you can create for yourself, I'm trying to find my mouse here. Where is it? My mouse has disappeared. There we go. When you can define a point of view to operate from, it gives you a foundation to come from and a guidepost with which to make decisions. So let me ask you a question. I want you to imagine you're 100 years old. You're laying on your deathbed, looking back at your life. What do you want to say that your life was about? between today and that, whenever that is, you're 100 years old looking back, right? What do you want to say your life was about? Anybody want, you don't have to answer, but anybody want to take a stab at an answer?
Love, fun, and adventure.
Say it again.
Love, fun, and adventure.
Love, fun, and adventure. I love that. Are you doing it right now?
It's
Yes.
funny.
Yes,
Sorry.
sir.
Okay, good.
It's funny because I was going to say pretty much the exact same thing. And then I was like, that's not what I'm doing. Not now. I was in my
Okay.
like 20s and 30s, right?
But you're not doing it now.
No, not at all. I'm focused on, being an adult.
Okay.
40s are
adulting.
weird.
Adulting. Okay.
But yes, adulting. That's
Yeah.
not fun.
Got it. Got
It is satisfying sometimes though,
Yeah. So
occasionally.
here's the problem with saying, I want to look back and do that. How many of us will get a chance to be on our deathbed at 100 years old and be able to look back at our life, right? We don't know when the end is coming. The future is totally unknown. We could die an hour from now, God forbid, right? Go out and get hit by a bus, or a satellite falls on us, or, who knows when the day's coming. So don't you want to be living that life right now? I want to be living a life of fun, adventure, and love right now, right now, right now, right now. So at any moment when the end comes, I can say I was living my best life. I was making the difference I was committed to making. So I say that each of us has something called our key difference. The key difference is that one difference you want to make to people in the world. It's the difference you want to make. It's the foundation and the guidepost to operate on life from. My key difference is my life is about people experiencing freedom and power in fulfilling what's important to them. All people experiencing freedom and power in fulfilling what's important to them. And I notice that when I'm feeling down or upset, what's missing for me is an experience of freedom and power. So now when somebody says, hey, but do you want to do this? Or would you do this for me? I stop and look and go, will that bring me freedom and power? Or can I bring freedom and power to that? Because there's some things you have to do in life, right? I have to do paperwork when I sell a house. Not my favorite thing in the world. So I have changed the structures of my business that I have paperwork time. And I have a Alexa in my office, and I say, Alexa, play music I like. Not now, don't Alexa, stop. She always listens. And I put on music I like, and I do my paperwork. That's my time to change my mood. I find that will bring me some freedom and power. So if you can look at your life, and we're not going to spend a lot of time on this call today. This is one of the things that I work with people on is creating that key difference. And the thing about the key difference, let me bring my screen back. You guys see my screen again? You see this key difference?
Yep.
The key difference, as I define it, is the clear statement for the difference you and your business make in the world and make for the world. It's a view of the future you create through your actions. So this is the future I'm creating, right? That you can look back and say, yes, where I went, love, fun, and adventure followed me. The thing about a key difference is you don't have to invent it. If you stop and look at your life in those moments when you are lit up, you are inspired, I call it the moments of bliss. There's not a lot of them in your life. There's some. You go home at night, you go, boy, that was an amazing day. And you look at what was present. It's the experience that was present that is your key difference, because that's who you are. Like, I don't know very many of you on this call, but I imagine, and I'm just going to make an assumption, Paula. Paula's been in a few of my classes, and Paula's always willing to share, and I appreciate that so much about her. I imagine when Paula walks in a room, people feel taken care of and nurtured and loved, because that's who Paula is. Where she goes, love follows. I've only known Melinda for a short time, right? But the fact that she said fun and adventure, I totally get that. I totally get that. And love, right? There's this connection that shows up when you show up. When you can put your finger on your key difference, It gives you that place that when things aren't working, you can come back. It's the touchstone for you to come back to. Since I have found my key difference is freedom and power, it has shifted everything in my life, because when things aren't going well, it's like, okay, freedom's missing. I'm not feeling free right now. How do I bring freedom to this? What does there do? It opens up a new opportunity. I'm going to get to another exercise in a little bit on how you create that opportunity for yourself. My coaching business is called Draw Door Business Coaching, and where the name comes from, if you've ever seen the movie Beetlejuice, there's a scene in the movie. The story is about these two people, Alec Baldwin and Gina Davis. Their characters, they die early in the movie, but their spirit gets stuck in the house. They have no way out. And there's a scene in the movie where they're standing in the attic and they're like, how do we get out of here? And the handbook says, in case of emergency, draw a door. So they pick up a piece of chalk and they drew a door in the brick wall, and the brick wall opened into a new world. Well, how do you draw a door when there seems to be no way out? Your key difference, the key difference is the key to opening that door is grounding yourself with, oh, wait, the difference I say I want to make in the world is missing. Because when I say my key difference is that, and my life is about all people experience freedom and power, I'm one of all people. You know, I used to believe, you can Google me on there's a YouTube talk I gave a couple of years ago on, you know, I used to believe of the 9 billion people in the world, right? Everybody had the power and freedom to do whatever they want except for me. I was the only one that, you know, the Lord God screwed up. I couldn't do it. Anybody else could do it, but I couldn't. And I realized, oh, wait a second, I'm one of all people. I can create the experience of freedom and power for me. I can have what I want too. And so your key difference is your access to whatever it is for you, right? Fun and adventure is your thing and you're having a bad day. It's like, well, wait a second. How do I make this fun? How do I bring adventure to this? And everybody I talk to, you know, whatever it is for you. So I'm going to invite you to spend some time, and I'm going to give you at the end of the call, I'll let you know, I will be willing to help you for free, help find your key difference, because it's such an important piece of moving on. Now, some people, when they look at their key difference, when I say, what are your clients' experience when they work with you? It's like, well, I make it easy and I educate them. That's what you do. See, those are, and my key difference is financial security. Well, that's a goal. That's a goal. That's something that's tangible in real life. If you were being financially secure, what would your experience be? See, the key difference is the experience that you're living into. So when you go look for yourself for the key difference, think and remember this: for true success, your key difference must focus on the experience of other people. Now, it reflects back on you. And when you're experiencing it, they have the option to experience it. You can't force someone to experience something. When I hear people, and it's a bad habit of mine, I'm learning to be better at it. When I hear somebody struggling with something, they're trapped, right? It's like, well, what do you have to commit? What are you committed to? Oh, sometimes they're just committed to being trapped. I cannot offer them freedom and power for anything because they're just happy being a victim, being trapped in that world. But I continue to stand for people's freedom and power. What's it going to take? The key difference is that difference that you're committed to making. That's your authenticity. What's your version of authenticity? And it could be anything: security, safety. It could be nurturing. I have one friend, her key difference is to mother the world. People feel mothered, including her. So she's taking better care of herself. Since she came up with her key difference, she's actually taking better care of herself now, because she always took care of everybody else, but not her. But she's one of all people experience being mothered and taken care of. She's now taking better care of herself, and she's lost some weight. She got me into real estate. She was my real estate mentor 20 years ago. So your key difference should start with an expression like, when people work with me, they experience blank. This is your access to your key difference. But the reality is your business not really, your business can be an authentic expression of who you are. So rather than your business, when people work with me, my life and my business is about, right? I think I said my key difference is people experience freedom and power. I think what I said was my life is about people experience freedom and power in fulfilling what's important to them. Well, real estate and my coaching business is my expression of that. See, I could go do anything. I could go be a dentist. Well, That was my mother's dream for me when I was younger, or be a doctor, or I could go be an auto mechanic, which would be terrible. There's a million jobs out in the world. Whatever I did, I would do it with I used to work for GoDaddy in tech support. And it was a fun job because I got to make a difference for people, right? Bring them freedom and power in their online presence. Like, that's just who I am. Whatever I did, that's what I would bring. So I invite you to spend some time and sit down and answer the question or finish the statement. My life and my business is about people experiencing blank. When you can create that key difference, you get that touchstone, that foundation to operate from, that you get to look at, okay, well, if I want these results, I need to take certain actions. What actions should I take? Well, if my point of view is hidden from my view, I'm going to take the actions I think to do. I'm going to take the actions to, well, I need more business. I want more clients. So I'm going to go do an open house. Great. If you did the open house from the point of view is ask people how long you've been looking, hire me, hire me, hire me, hire me, you're going to have an open house with certain results. But if your point of view is, I want people to experience love, fun, and adventure. Okay, now how do I do an open house that brings people love, fun, and adventure? You're going to have a very different open house than the open house you're going to do from following the rules that your broker told you. This is how you do an open house. These are the questions to ask somebody. You may never ask them, do you have a realtor? You may never ask them how long you've been looking. You might ask them totally different questions, right? What's your favorite restaurant in the neighborhood? What do you do for fun? What had you come to? Do you love doing open houses? Do you like, how often do you go to open houses? You might have different questions given by the point of view you bring, but you can then ground yourself on the point of view. One of the classes I teach is how do you prospect from this perspective? I guarantee you, if you looked at your business, your prospecting does not come from bringing love, fun, adventure, safety, nurturing to your clients. Your business, your prospecting methods all come from, this is what I was told to do when I got my license. So that's your key difference. I'm going to stop there and take questions. If you have any questions or thoughts, comments, yeah, buts, how abouts, what ifs.
Motivation for people that, such as myself, that lead our principles and guide our lives with these things, staying on track, keeping that resiliency and empowerment, I think, is huge, that so many of us have lost during the pandemic. Any thoughts?
And the main reason it gets lost is that default conversation, that terministic screen, that force field is so strong that when you're not grounded in what your point of view is, when you're not grounded in your, you know who you are as a person, you know what's important to you, but you've got to be able to say, this is what my business is about. This is the difference I make. Okay, wait, I'm not going to get involved in this conversation that disempowers me. I'm going to stand for something else. I said earlier, I've been doing transformational work for 21 years now. One of the things I never was able to overcome was my judgment of other people. I would just, you say what you say, and it's like, oh God, they're so stupid, right? And I'd love to share my opinion of other people. And I got a tattoo on my wrist to remind me to stop speaking my opinions out loud, because they're just opinions. And I become a much nicer person. I'm from the East Coast. I'm from Philadelphia originally, and I hate injustice, and I will speak my mind, right? So customer service, right? Bad customer service will get me indignant and I love to get, let me tell you what you're doing wrong. I'm much nicer to bad customer service people now, because if I'm about all people experience freedom and power, yelling at a bad customer service rep, which I love to do, does not bring me or them freedom or power. So it has made me a nicer person with incompetence and ignorance and bad service. It still exists, but I don't relate to it the same way, because now I bring freedom and power to the experience. It has changed my experience of life, so that if I were to die today, tomorrow, in any moment, I could say the moment I went out, I was experiencing freedom and power. I was living my best life. I was making the difference I'm committed to living. I'm committed to my difference that I'm going to make. So thanks, Melinda. Any other comments, thoughts, yeah, buts? Just pondering it. Okay, good. All right. So we talked about the rules of life that you have that get in the way. Most of our rules that we have are hidden from our view because they don't occur like it's a rule. It occurs to us like it's the truth. The way it is, it's the truth. I have to be nice to my clients. I have to. My real estate clients don't know what they're doing, so I've got to nurture them and educate them and feed them and shelter them from the harsh reality of our business, right? Paula was talking about the frustration of being a buyer today. It's like, well, I've got to tell them the truth, and it's a bad thing. Why, right? Because there's some rule that's in the way. Most of our rules are hidden from the view because that's just the way it is. If I give them bad news, they'll disappear. They'll hire another realtor who puts on a happy face. If I tell them they can't buy a house in the neighborhood they want to buy, and they'll go someplace else, well, they can't. They won't find a house there either. So another realtor will lie. Another realtor will take their overpriced listing, right? They'll take. The other day, I was talking to somebody. I was teaching a CE class, and we talked about, do you want overpriced listings? And your broker will not say 80% of brokers are going to tell you, take the listing. Yeah, you'll convince them to lower their price in 3 months. But if you're somebody that's committed to your experience of life being one that's empowering, is it empowering to have a listing sitting on the market for 30 days, 60 days, your name hanging on the street saying, I can't sell this house because it's overpriced? Not my fault, but seller picked their price, but right. No, I'm in business to sell houses. So I'll tell a seller, I can't sell your house for that price. I can sell your house for this price. I'm willing to try it somewhere in between for a week or two, but after a week, you're going to let me lower the price to my price, because I'm not willing to have my sign sit there for 2 months or 3 months because your house isn't selling in a market that's so hot. So I'm not taking a listing. I'll pack up my stuff. And where are you going? Well, you want somebody to sell your house. I can't sell your house for your price. And I'm not going to lie to you and tell you I can. In 3 months from now, we'll be fighting about a price reduction. It's not, I don't want to live my life that way, right? It's a choice. It's a choice in my business. But we see it as I have to take the listing, right? And then be miserable for 3 months. And then you're miserable about that client. And then you walk around in a mopey mood and wonder why nobody's hiring you as an agent. And the people don't want to hang out with you. You're in a bad mood lately. I don't want to go to dinner with you. Because that one bad client, that one bad decision selling out on your integrity, that one bad decision where you put your authenticity aside to do what is supposed to do, hurt your experience of life. So life should be this way. Life shouldn't be that way. All of these things, we call them unrealizable fantasies. It's a way we see life. It's a rule that we have that we can't see. And this was created a list by Jermaine Porcher and Jed Netterer, created a list of popular unrealizable fantasies. This is one of my favorites. Things should always go as planned. In other words, nothing should ever go wrong. If you live like that's the truth, you are in trouble, because in life, it rarely goes the way we expect it to. If you can get that when things go as planned, it's a victory, woohoo, celebrate the victory. And when things don't go as planned, it's great. I planned for this to happen. Not this particular thing, but I planned for problems. Here's how we handle this problem. Here's how we handle that problem. Here's how we handle a market that has incredibly low inventory, right? In the Phoenix area, we have 5 million people. There are less than 6,000 properties for sale on the MLS. It's not enough properties. I could go, it shouldn't go that way. It shouldn't be that way. We should have 20,000 properties for all these buyers. We don't. Okay, well, things don't go as planned. So we need a contingency plan. Here's what we do. We offer over asking. We bring cash over appraisal. Oh, you don't have any cash? Okay, great. Then how do we handle with that problem? How do we deal with that problem? Not as it shouldn't be this way. It is. Things don't go as planned. Some of us have this fantasy. I should never have too much to do. I should always have just the right amount to do in the time I have available. So it's 7 o'clock at night, it's 8 o'clock at night, and your spouse or your kids are calling for your attention, but I've got 10 items left on my to-do list. I've got to finish these things before the end of the day. No, you didn't. Who said? Who said? Somebody in the past, some teacher, some parent, somebody, some friend told you you should always finish your to-do list before you go home. Who said? Why are they right? It's an unrealizable fantasy. If you are successful in business, you have aspirations and dreams and goals, you will always have more to do than time to do it. It's the way it works. So how do you say, it's okay, I'm going to leave? When I finished my day yesterday, I had a list of 6 things that had to get done yesterday. And I wrote them down and put them on my desk for first thing this morning because they weren't going to get done yesterday. I had theater tickets last night. I wasn't going to miss my theater tickets. So I could have said, no, these things are more important. And there was nothing that was vital. No one was going to die if I didn't get communicated to who I had to communicate with. I won't have it done today. I'll have it for you tomorrow. And most of my list got done before our class today. So, shifting the conversation from who said that's not true. That's a rule I have. This is one of my favorites. I should never make mistakes and no one else should either. I double booked clients last week. I never do that. And I was beating myself up, so ashamed. I made a mistake. We make mistakes, right? It's unrealizable fantasy to believe that we never make mistakes and nobody else should either. I'm not nicer person if you accept that mistakes happen. And most mistakes in our industry are fixable. No one died because something happened. It may cost you some money. It may cost somebody else some money. It might not, right? It may not be good or fun or happy, but most mistakes are fixable, but nobody died because of it. If we were surgeons and doctors, it's a whole other story, right? The medical industry, makes mistakes, but will never admit mistakes because it's going to cost them money. There's liability and we can lose. Real estate doesn't go that way. This is one of my favorite lies that are told in real estate all the time, right? You should live a balanced life. The rules to a balanced life. Who says you should live a balanced life? It's a nice aspiration to have, right? And you can figure out a way to make it work. But I love what I do. I don't mind that I work 50, 60, 70 hours a week. My husband does, but right, I love it because I love what I do. Because it's fun for me. It gives me freedom. It gives me power to do what I do. That's balanced for me, right? You can say my balance is 30-70 or 60-40 or 50-50. And if your balance is, I want to spend more time on the golf course than in my office, then the rules are great. That would be balanced for me. How do I do that? What do I do, right? So I should have plenty of time for everything I want to do. These are all the rest of the unrealizable fantasies. I will send you a copy of this if you'd like after the class today. If you can get that these shoulds are because of the rules we have of life, you could actually say, oh, wait, what's my rule? What's getting in my way of my key difference, of my touchstone foundation of what's powerful for me?
Come on. Justin, get in here.
Sorry, hello? Keith, did you unmute to say something? Or are you talking to somebody in the room? Okay, you muted back up again. All right, thoughts, questions? How often is your bad mood, your stress, your frustration tied to a should that you have in your life, right? Let me ask you a question. Where's my questions?
In looking at some of these things, Butch, I feel like so many of these are cultural. We've grown up in this society. These aren't things that we just threw out there because we think these are right. These are things that have been taught to us, that have been fed to us.
It's not your fault. It's not your fault. Like I said at the beginning, we all live by a set of rules that we didn't create, we didn't agree to, and we are blind to the impact they have on our life. So it's not, if you ever read The Four Agreements by Miguel something, his introduction is really powerful because the introduction says, you have been programmed. You have been programmed to look at life a certain way. Your perspective was programmed into you, and you do not have to buy that program. It's time to change the channel. It's time to change the channel. What's your life going to be about? You get to say what your default point of view is, not all the programming you've had thus far in your life.
Does it take time to reprogram?
Yeah. So why aren't you more successful in real estate? Why aren't you making the amount of money you want to make? Why is it frustrating that the market is the way the market is? Anybody have a good answer for what's the biggest reason? What's the biggest reason you don't have more business right now?
Lack of motivation.
Lack of motivation. Why are you not motivated?
Well, you know, I
There's
think
something
sometimes,
there's something behind that. See, the lack of motivation is the experience. There's something behind that lack of motivation. There's some rule. This is hopeless because
I don't know, it's a feeling of hopelessness. I know for a while, for a couple of years when things happened, it was constant. It was a manager, educating, all those things, and it just became too much. And then health issues within the family. And so sometimes, you know, motivation is an ebb and flow. Oftentimes it's hard to keep that motivation 100% all the time. And so there are different factors in our life that affect us where it's not the main priority. Maybe making money is not the main priority. Maybe taking care of your family is the main priority. And so learning to make those shifts and find out what's the most important thing to focus on right now. And sometimes it's not real estate. And then sometimes getting the motivation back to pick it back up, because every day that you don't put something into your business, you're losing. I believe that. And I've seen that over the 16 plus years I've been doing this, that every day counts to some degree. We don't work all day, but I think as a business owner in general, you work every day, and having that commitment and putting something into your business every day produces results long-term.
can you guys on the call hear how many rules Melinda has about business? You have to be motivated. You have to put business into your work every day. Sometimes life is more important, but you got to get back on work. You got to focus on what there is. I mean, you had 4 or 5 or 6 rules in that statement that to you, those are not the rules. That's just the truth about real estate. I've been in this 16 years. You got to put into your business every day or it's not going to grow, right? It's none of it's bad or wrong. I don't want you to get, I'm not saying it's a problem. They're just the hidden rules for you that create that when you have those days that family is more important, or you're not feeling motivated, to you, that feels like a bad thing. I should be motivated every day. Who said? Who said you can't work 3 days a week and make as much money as you're making today? Right? Who said you can't work 3 hours a day on a Tuesday and Tuesday afternoons are the day to go out and go hike or do something, right? Who said? You did, because somebody taught you some rule that you're caught into. So thank you for sharing. And just notice, again, that's the thing to notice, is there are rules in the background that we have that create a problem. Jake, you just came on camera. Did you want to share something?
I wanted to just chime in. In my upbringing, I was brought up to, how do I put it? To establish a point in doing something. If there's no point in doing it and it becomes virtually pointless, I just don't do it. And very often in real estate, sometimes, oh, that's pointless. I can do it later or I won't do it at all. And it never gets done. And I know it's the wrong mindset. I've known this for a while, but I'm learning how to fix it slowly. And it's a process. That's for sure. It's a process.
All right. So I invite you to not look at it like it's a wrong process. Look at it like it's a limiting process, right? Because that rule of it, why do it if it's pointless? I don't have that. I love to do things just to do them, right? It'd be fun. And that, oh, as a point. Oh wait, that's a point. And I'm gonna do this for fun. Give me something that you look at that's pointless, that you think you should be doing or want to do.
In real estate or in general?
In general, doesn't matter.
Oh wow. On the spot, it's always hard to answer that question.
So you said there's things you think about, like I want to do that, I should do this, and he's like, oh, it's just pointless. I'll do it later. I don't have to do it now. Like, anything come to mind that shows up for you as pointless?
Following a lead that I'm pretty sure won't go anywhere.
Okay. So why
is a good one that I
okay, so it'd be pointless to follow that lead. Okay, not gonna do it.
You never know, and I know that, but when they're looking, I know the info I get says they're looking at Holbrook. Well, okay. I know that's not gonna do anything for me because I don't know Holbrook at all. So what's the point?
Okay, so what I hear is, but that sounds very disempowering. What's the point? It's, oh, they're buying in Holbrook. I don't work Holbrook. Who can I send this lead to that they can go do it? Maybe give me a referral fee. Like, there is no point in you following the lead, but it's not useless. It could show up as something else, right? Like I have friends.
I don't know anyone at Holbrook. So if I send them to a bad agent or something, or an agent that'll just neglect them, then it looks, then I really did.
Do you have
I
do you have
did
your
them
own
a disservice as opposed to a
you have your own
service.
brokerage? You have your own brokerage, Jake?
No, I'm not a broker.
Okay, so you've got a broker that you work for? How long have they been
Yes,
in,
yes.
how long's your broker been in business?
15 plus years.
Think your
So yes,
broker-
I realize
You think your broker knows somebody in
that
Holbrook?
that wasn't the best example, and I apologize.
But I get it, I get it.
I
But
mean,
what you're,
I've asked Lisa for that before, but
the disempowering conversation there is not that I don't like to do things. I was raised to not do things that are pointless. It's that when I don't see a solution to something, I feel bad and just forget about it. See, I should know how to do everything. I should know what to do with things. Is the conversation in the background that then disempowers you. And it's like, well, it's pointless. I'm not going to deal with it. And then you feel bad about yourself because you should know what to do with this. You should know how to say no to this lead, right? That's the background conversation. And so you get disempowered as opposed to, okay, I have a lead. They're in Holbrook. I don't want it. I'm not going to work it. Deleted. Or you could have the point of view of every lead is valuable. So who can I give this to? I don't know. I'm going to go on to the Facebook realtor group and I'm going to say, who knows a realtor in Holbrook? I go look at the CRS people. I go look at accredited buyer's agent people who, I make some phone calls. I'll make a phone call or two and look for somebody I like. And I got a referral for you. You know what? It's only, I'll pass referrals that are low end. It's like, I don't even need a referral fee. Or if I have clients right now moving to Vermont, I said, look, they're old friends. I'm selling their house I'm not giving them a discount on my commission. So I usually discount my second transaction if they ask for it. I'm not going to ask for a referral fee, just, reimburse them some money as a buyer's agent, give them something back. And I had to make a call 3 or 4 agents to find somebody who I liked on the phone who would agree to that. It took me 15 minutes. But I took care of my clients because that's what's important to me, right? If you stand in, do you have any sense for you what your key difference is, Jake?
I was thinking about that while you were going through that part of the presentation. And I'm sure if I asked my wife, she'd help me very easily, but I couldn't tell you what I think mine is.
I'm not gonna hold you to anything. I'm not gonna hold you to anything. Are you a nurturer? Are you an educator? Are you a superhero? There are people, their key difference is to just make life better for everybody, to be the hero, come to the rescue.
My kids call me Batman. I mean,
There you go.
does that mean
Right.
something?
So if your key difference, why do they call you Batman?
Mostly because my wife and I really love Batman, but I do try to, well, no, very often I'll swoop in at the last minute and, stop their heads from hitting the floor or something.
Great, you're the
I've done that
savior. You're the
numerous times with
savior.
each of them.
Your experience is that people don't suffer or people don't struggle or people are saved from disaster. You should be selling insurance. I don't know, right? But play with that. What is it for you that you could put into it? Then you get something and go, this feels pointless. Well, wait, if I were going to bring saving this to something, I want to save this client from a bad realtor. I got to go find a good Holbrook realtor for this client, right? Or I have this lead that's not turning into much. How do I save them from not working with me and going to work with a bad realtor or somebody who's not going to take good care of them because my business is about service? All right, how will then I communicate with them that might turn them from a maybe not lead to a maybe yes lead, right? It gives you that place to change. Remember, that point of view will inform the actions, will tell us what actions to take and how to take those actions. Because I'm not focused on the results so much. I'm focused on, okay, this is what I want to produce. This is the point of view I want to come from. How do I produce it? Right. We all want clients, but we want the clients that want what we're selling, which is not houses, by the way. Melinda's selling love and fun and adventure. Paul is selling nurturing and support and caring. You're selling safety and security and protection. And oh, by the way, I sell houses too. Right. So you can get that, it gives you some power.
I like the perspective on that. It's a much better one than I was implying, utilizing toward some of these things in life. So
yeah,
good perspective switch. I'm going to work on that one.
Thank you. Stop disempowering yourself. All right.
Thank you.
So I'm going to share, we're getting close to time. So I want to get this done before we have time. So we're going to talk about how do you shift your mood when there's a disempowering thought, right? How do you shift your mood? So you have to first identify that you're in a mood, right? That you're feeling disempowered. You're in a space, you're feeling disempowered. So we think that our moods are given by our circumstance. Something happens and all of a sudden I feel this way. That buyer told me they don't want to work with me and buyers suck. This business is too hard. I'm never going to make it. I'm going to go golfing today. Forget it, right? So we think it's a circumstance. Consider that our mood that we get in is not the past, but it's given by the view of the future based on what's happened in the past, right? Early in the call, I asked, what's your experience of real estate today? And, one of the things that Melinda shared is that it's really hard to grow your business due to the limited inventory right now. It's really hard. If you're a new agent, it's really hard, which is a point of view, which would create a mood of difficulty. It's hard. It's going to be hard. It's going to be different. It would make it hard to stay motivated, wouldn't it? If you had that point of view in the background. Paula expressed, you have to tell clients the truth, and it's just the truth isn't pretty, which again, can you get the negative mood that could put you in? So you have to notice it's not that the circumstance is the circumstance, but what it looks like is the future is going to be hard. The future is going to be difficult, and that puts us in the mood that we're in. We gather information, the default information, and we judge the information, and we make a default assessment. An assessment, by definition, is a declaration of what kind of possibility is available in the future. So something happens, and because that happened, think of the companies, the conversations, the newfangled real estate companies. They're going to destroy real estate. They're destroying the industry, or that makes my life harder, which makes, right? That mood is given by something happened. That it happened isn't a problem. Anybody watch Friends in here? Friends are my favorite TV shows. I've seen every episode a million times. And there's an episode of Friends where Phoebe says to Ross, well, your relationship with her was in the past, and you can't be mad at the past. And she says, for example, are you mad at the Louisiana Purchase? And she says, I don't think anybody's mad at that. And he said, well, yeah, because it happened in the past. You can't be mad at the past. Past happened, right? It may not be what you wanted, but it's what you got. So when I don't know if you can see on my wall behind me, I've got a little, it is what it is, which is a stupid little saying. But the reality is, the more you can accept it is what it is that's what I got. Okay, this is the future I'm committed to. I'm committed to a future of love and fun and adventure. Given the circumstances I have, how do I bring that adventure? So you have to identify the assessment first. Assessments cannot be true or false. It's an assessment because the future has not happened yet. So it can't be true or false today because your assessment's about, my business just got harder. Who said? You're the only one that said that. This circumstance happened, business just got harder. No, it didn't. You got a new challenge to deal with. I got a new challenge to deal with is what happened. And not even a challenge. The landscape of real estate has changed. That it's going to be, the point of view that it's going to be harder is yours. So an assessment can be grounded, like the evidence points that this is a true possible future, or ungrounded. So the assessment often seems to us like it's a verdict. This happened, and you've just made a verdict of how the future is going to go. That client just fired me. I am going to be living in a van down by the river. That's an assessment, right? That's not the truth. It's one possible future. It's an assessment. Well, if you can make an assessment with a possible future, can you find another possible future? A grounded assessment, when you can ground an assessment and support it by data, standards, and facts, you open up a path for action. Often, anybody in here have the statement, I'm really bad with money? I used to have this conversation. I'm really bad with money. Problem is, I'm not bad with money. I am bad. When I got clear that my whole money conversation was, I don't know how to save money, right? Which is a different conversation than I'm bad with money. I'm bad with money is I got to manage that. I'm good at math, right? And I have no problem with my money or with my client's money and the financial aspect of real estate. I'm really good at that. So I'm not bad at money. I'm bad at saving my own money. And then I got training and that conversation went away, right? When you can ground it to a particular domain or area of life, you can ground it an assessment and open up a path of action. Ungrounded assessments lead to inaction and resignation. This business is too hard. Okay, so now I'm not motivated. So now I'm not working. And now I'm not making any money. And I got to go get a job. Like an ungrounded assessment can lead you into a future that is not the future you're creating for yourself. Our default moods are always, almost always based on an ungrounded assessment, an automatic assessment. So the unproductive interpretation of moods leads people to focus on the past, blame their mood on a recent event. And since we can't undo the past, we can't control it. So we have to focus on the future. The focus on the future has to be that key difference that you create for yourself. My life is about this. The 100-year-old looking back on their life. I want my life to be about people experiencing fun and joy and love and security and safety and being taken care of. That's the future we're going to create. So given this circumstance I have, what can I do to bring this about? So here's the exercise for mood shifting. First is you have to identify the assessment. What am I saying that is about the future? It usually looks like I should, they should, we should, or they shouldn't, or people are just so blah, right? Identifying the assessment, identifying that point of view, that rule that has you looking. And then you have to look at what's the actual concern, right? What area of life is it in? What are the actual facts? So I'm going to come to Paula for a second, right? Like it's difficult to work with buyers right now because it's so hard and I don't like rejection. Why don't you like rejection, Paula? What's the problem with rejection?
Makes me feel bad, makes me feel like I'm unworthy, that it gives all kinds of negative connotations like, well, they don't like me and they're right. They're right not to like me because of this, that, and whatever.
Okay, great. Paula, would you ask me for $1 million, please?
You know, Butch, I really, I know you're a great guy and I'd really appreciate it if you gave me $1 million.
Nope, nope, I reject your request.
What?
Do you feel unworthy? I don't like you any less for asking, by the way.
Well, I feel rejected, actually. I
Okay,
feel
great.
really bad.
Yeah.
My mindset is totally negative
That's
now.
just a feeling, right? So
It's a feeling. It's a feeling.
if we take on that what your life is about is people feeling nurtured and cared for, is that close for you for a key difference?
Yeah, yes, I think so.
Okay, so could you say that when I say no, it's not a rejection, it's a rejection if you look at it that way, but as a rejection is, okay, I'm okay. They said no and I'm not bleeding. I don't see a puddle of blood under my feet. Nothing's changed. They're still here talking to me. They think, oh my God, you're so disgusting. How dare you ask me that, right? See that as that's just something in a future. And then how do I nurture me, nurture them in this experience? In the world of real estate, is it your fault that inventory is so low?
No.
Is it your fault the buyers don't have cash in the bank to pay over an appraised value?
No.
Is it your fault that your offer got rejected? You wrote a beautiful, beautiful offer. Is it your fault your offer got rejected because somebody
Yeah,
way
because
more than
I
a
feel
house
like
is
I feel like there was something that I should have told him. Maybe it was the earnest money going non-refundable. Maybe I should have told him to do this, that.
I would never recommend a client.
Maybe I should have tried her with the listing.
I would never tell a client they should put non-refundable earnest money on the table. I'll tell them it's an option they could do, and here's why I don't recommend it, but it's your choice. They're the ones buying the house, not me. Are you willing to put your money at risk for a house you love? Don't do it for a house you don't love.
I just always feel like there is something else that I could have done that would have made a difference.
Yeah, well, but you did what you did, right? So in this domain, the assessment of it's really it's so hard to be a buyer's agent right now because of low inventory. Could the assessment, the facts are There's low inventory. Buyers have to compete in creative ways. I've got to find creative ways to look for things. I don't always find creative ways, but I'm committed to taking care of people and nurturing them. So I'm going to keep looking for creative solutions to the problem, right? If it's just, I'm frustrated, it's so hard, there's no opening for action. But if it's okay, these are my circumstances, what else can I do? Not, I'm sure there's something else I could do. I feel so bad, I can't think of anything. It's okay, what else can I do? All right, I'm going to call Melinda and see what she's doing to have success. I'm going to call Nikki and see what she's doing to have success. I'm going to go to a realtor event this week, and I'm going to not talk about the negative of, oh, it's so frustrating and sad. I'm going to talk about what are some of the possible options we could do to make it easier for buyers in this market. You might be so inspired by taking care of people. I'm just randomly creating a different future for you. You might get so inspired that you join the City Planning Commission to figure out how do we build some affordable housing in town to help raise the level of inventory. There's only one way to raise inventory is to build more houses. So what can we do? And all of a sudden your life is a different experience. You're no longer frustrated or sad.
I like the way you're thinking. That's good.
It's a shift of perspective, right? It's grounding the assessment you have, that assessment is given by your default point of view. But coming from, I'm here to help people, how do I do that? It changes your experience. When you look at the assessment, I'm sorry, we're running out of time. When you look at the assessment, there's usually one of these negative moods in the background. Resignation, nothing's going to get better. It's just the way it is. And I can't do anything to change it. Despair, distrust. These are moods given by an ungrounded assessment. I can't do anything. Disaster's approaching. Distrust, I don't believe you. Resentment, it's not fair. You're winning, I'm losing. You screwed this up. No one listens to me. These are default assessments people have behind the conversation that we're having. This list, I keep this list in my wallet on a little piece of paper. When I pull out, okay, what's going on? What's going on? And then we can look at the list of positive moods. It's how do I ground that? First of all, ground the assessment, right? It's not fair. Who says life is fair? Right? That's just a point of view. All right, I didn't get what I wanted. What can I now do to get what I wanted? Given this circumstance, here's what I did. These actions didn't produce the results I wanted. What can I do now? Okay, I'm going to pick wonder. I really have no idea what's going on here. I'm just going to live in a world. The world seems full of opportunities. I'm going to find myself right now. I don't see it right now, but I'm going to find that opportunity. It can immediately shift your mood. So identifying that there's some assessment going on in the background that you can then shift to ground the assessment, right? If you can't see it, call somebody, right? I could easily hear, now I've been trained to do this, right? But I can easily hear when Melinda shared the assessment of, I have to be motivated to be successful. I have to work every day in my business, right? Those are all, if you continue to get in there, I certainly hear a world of distrust or resignation. Actually, I hear resentment coming, right? Because then you resent that, I got a family too, and I got to do this. That shows up as a mood. I resent that I have to go make phone calls today when all my kids and my husband, my family are all they're skiing today and I want to go skiing, but I have to make phone calls. It builds a world of resentment. So you can choose, how do I bring fun and adventure to this? I'll take my phone, I'll call clients for certain clients I can call that are a lot of fun. I'm going to call them from the ski lift, right? Get those phone calls taken care of while I'm going. So it shifts the perspective. When you can tie that shift to your key difference, always come back to, how do I bring that difference I want to make to this experience? It brings a whole new world of freedom and power to the world. All right, I'm going to give you an offer and then I'm going to take questions. As I said, we'll be out of here by 11:30 and we're getting really close. Anybody to thank you for coming on this call today. I will offer you a 1-hour key difference consultation to help you identify. It's such an important thing. My life is about people experiencing freedom and power. And one of my commitments is to change the conversation of real estate in Arizona. I hate personally as a realtor when I see lists of respected professions that real estate is down with, used car salespeople and politicians. I don't want my industry to be seen that way. It's one of the reasons I'm involved in the industry. So if I can, I'm a big believer in the pebble in the stream. If you put that pebble in the stream and it ripples out, and we have enough ripples, it will create one big wave that we can change, we can make the difference. So if you like what I had to say today, go to thefuturecreated.com, and it's just a place to schedule a 1-hour consultation. My website's Straldor Coaching. It's got more information we talked about today. I thank you for participating and being here. I will now open it up for any questions, feedback, comments, thoughts you have. For as much time as left, and I'll hang around as long as you want to. Excuse me, to talk about this. After I take a drink.
Thank you, Butch. That was wonderful and very timely.
Great.
Very
Thanks, Nikki.
timely, because I've been circling a little
Well,
bit.
Jerry keeps telling me I should call you, that you really need help with mindset. So your friends hear your frustration. Your friends.
There
hear
you
your
go. There
frustration.
you go. I will be signing up to talk to you one-on-one for
Awesome.
sure. But thank you. We need to get you back because this has been really good. Thank you.
But we've scheduled some CE classes, and I actually teach my CE classes from this perspective, that there's another way to look at things. So sign up for the CE classes. Thank you, Judy
Right,
and
we
Melinda,
we
for
do,
scheduling
and that's
those.
a great segue for me to go ahead and talk about the CE classes. And Butch, this was fantastic. The thing that to me comes back, and I had Freddie Paulsred, who's been in this business, I think for almost 40 years. Back when I first got into it, I got in 2006, and of course, what happened in 2007? That was my experience of getting into real estate, and I
Right.
remember being frustrated. And she said, "Nothing is good or bad until you say it as so." And that has stuck with me, and that has been my mantra, because it's all about this touches exactly on that. So hopefully that helps y'all as well too, if you need just a quick phrase, a quick slogan. And she's been very successful in life and in business, and so it's ring true for her, but it's about kind of letting go of the things that you can't control as well. So thank you for that. But the CE classes of Butch is fantastic, and we would love to have you on a regular basis. We do have you for the first few months actually on our calendar. Our first CE class with Butch is going to be March 4th at 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. and it's Benzer What Ifs. That'll give us 3 hours of contract law. And he's going to be back with us at the end of the month on March 30th between 1 and 4 for a CE class. Don't be a secret agent, and that'll give us 3 hours of agency. And check the calendar because we've got more of his classes coming up for the rest of the year. And we would love to have more motivational encouragement as well going forward. So Butch, we'll be in touch. And again, thank you so much for your time today.
My
Thank you,
pleasure.
Butch.
Fun. Thank you. Thank you guys very much. Anybody else? What else are you taking away from this today? I don't want you to just be motivated. I want you to have some tools to actually make a difference for yourself.
I think for me, it's really what you've really infused in me today. Thank you, Butch, is just regarding my attitude. And I love those two, the positive and the negative. But the best thing about that is I want what I want when I want it. I'm going to have a tattoo with that.
That's, you know what? And that's great. That is a very 5-year-old conversation, and you're welcome to keep it and have it, but not as it should be that way, but I'm going to create my life that I get what I want when I want it.
Love it.
You can do that. I have one of my coaches years ago talked about she only would fly first class. And she couldn't always afford it. So she says, how do I build my business so I can afford to fly first class? Because she refused to fly and coach. And she redesigned her life. And that's what she made money for. So she could travel first class wherever she went. Because she refused to sit and coach. And she was so funny. She's like, I'm not doing it. But it was empowering, not I can't travel because I won't travel and coach. It was, what can I do to make the difference? How do I change given the circumstances? What do I do? And she built a really big coaching business. She actually affiliated with somebody that she bought some technology, and she's making lots of money. So she goes first class wherever she goes. I go first class wherever I go, but I can't afford it. So I have credit card debt, but a little bit. But I'm okay with that. I learned how to manage my credit card debt, manage money that I actually don't right now. I don't have any credit card debt. So I lied to myself.
Yay. Good job. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Anybody else? All right. Thank you, everybody. We'll see you again.
Thank you. Thank you, Butch. We appreciate your time, and we'll see you again on March
My
4th.
pleasure. Thanks.
And for those of you, he did mention having a vision board. We actually do have Lisa Kelly, who's coming in at the association office on February 22nd. Actually the 24th, to do your in-person vision board. So join us, reach out to the association, look at the calendar. You can register for there as well. And then we also have more motivational focus coming up with Russell Shaw on the 15th at noon. Getting and staying on track will be a great push after we've had this great motivational speak from you, Butch. And then we also will have focusing on personal wellness with our lunch and learn on the 22nd. It'll be the 7 components of wellness. So check that out. That'll be awesome. And we've got more great things coming your way, industry related, wellness related, curiosity related for the professional development committee. If you have any suggestions or questions or need more information or want to join us, please feel free to reach out to me, your chair, Professional Development Committee, Melinda Morgan, or go to nazrealtor.com. Thanks everybody for joining us today, and we look forward to seeing you again.
Thanks,
Have a wonderful
Melinda.
rest of the-
Melinda, I want to say one thing about your vision board class.
Yeah.
The vision board class, when you do a vision board, and the person who does, whoever's teaching that, I'm not going to teach you this. The vision board is a place of what are the results? People put their results on the vision board. The access to your results is living true to your key difference. The access to that, put them out there. And remember, not that, how do I get there? And I'm not getting there yet. And what is it? It's actually, okay, if I make the difference I'm out to make in the world, all of these things will show up because of it. Magic, and it works.
Love it. Thank you
Right.
for that.
Thank you. All right.
Thanks so much again.
Bye. Thank
Have
you
a
very
wonderful
much.
day. Take
Hey,
care.
thanks, Nora.
Thank you.